Hello, my name's Tim, and Randy asked me to share a little bit about Easter for the emails that he sends out. I'm happy to do so. So if you know anything about Easter, you know it's the story about how Jesus, God's Son, came to the earth to save us from our sin. And we're in a pretty broken world, pretty messed up world, and we need saving. So God sent Jesus. He was born of a virgin, a poor peasant girl, and raised in the filth of life that you and I experience. And when he became a man, he gathered together some followers called disciples. And these men, they followed him around for 3 years, hearing his message and seeing the miracles he performed and being transformed by his influence and the hope and the life that he brought. It would have been pretty amazing to be one of those men. I think I can relate to Peter probably more than any of them. Peter, he was hungry for a life of meaning. When Jesus came and invited him to leave his fishing nets and join him, he was so eager and excited and happy to go and join Jesus, and left his old life behind with hardly a thought. And he learned from Jesus. He had powerful encounters with Jesus. It was Peter that actually went to Jesus and walked on water out to Jesus on the lake, experiencing miracles like that, witnessing miracles as Jesus healed people and restored sight to the blind and spoke words of life that spoke deep to his soul, as they did to all the others. He declared his loyalty to Jesus. And when Jesus hinted that hard times were coming, Peter declared he would defend him even to the death. That's the kind of passion that Peter had for Jesus. But his eagerness and his passion, and in some ways his tendency to act rashly without always thinking, also got him in trouble. Jesus upset the religious authorities of his day, and they were politically corrupt, and Jesus upset them with his statements that went against the things that they believed and taught and the power that they held. And they began to plot to have him killed. And when they came to arrest Jesus, Peter was quick to pull his sword. He said, I told you I'd defend you to the death, and I'm ready to prove it. And so Peter began to take that action until Jesus stopped him and said, no, that's not how this works. That's not the plan. You put your sword away. And so he did. And as they arrested Jesus, Peter, along with all the other disciples, these men that had followed him for 3 years, seen the miracles, witnessed the glory, they all fled. They deserted him. I wonder how he felt when he deserted him that day. It was not long after that, as they were holding their kangaroo court to try and sentence Jesus, Peter was trying to hide, camouflaged on the outskirts of what was going on, to kind of see what was going on, but not wanting to be too close to it. And it was then that 3 times people asked him, hey, you're with Jesus, aren't you? Aren't you one of his guys? And each of those times, Peter said, no, I don't even know him. The heights and the depths of Peter's life, from declaring that he would fight with him to the death, to actually denying that he even knew him, that must have been emotionally excruciating for Peter. But if you know the Easter story, you know it doesn't end there. You know that 3 days later, Jesus rose from the dead. He didn't stay there. This is like the ultimate happy ending story. He proved that he was the Son of God by bursting out of the tomb. When Peter heard that Jesus had risen, some of the women had discovered that the tomb was empty, and they told Peter. He ran with all his heart eagerly to witness this for himself. He was hungry to taste resurrection. And Jesus, out of that grave, returned to his disciples to unveil the new hope, the forgiveness, the power, the life that his sacrifice and resurrection had brought. And it gives me great encouragement to see that he singled out Peter and lovingly restored him. The rest of Peter's life oozed resurrection. Everywhere he went, resurrection followed, both in his life and the lives of those he met. I can relate to Peter. I've seen the highs. I've seen the lows. I've spent time wondering what happened. And I've seen the restoration that comes through the power of Jesus' resurrection. Where are you at? Maybe you're a longtime follower of Jesus. Maybe you used to follow Jesus, but you've fallen away. Maybe you've even denied him. Maybe you've never considered following Jesus before, and you're starting to wonder if you might be able to bring resurrection to your life. Wherever you're at, Jesus' arms are open for you. You only need to turn to him and accept his resurrecting embrace. I promise your life will never be the same. Like Peter, you can taste resurrection for yourself. I think one of the most exciting things for me lately has been to watch the resurrection taking place in Randy's life. Randy's long had a deep and steadfast faith. Like a bed of hot coals, Randy's faith has burned with deep, reliable heat. But lately, the resurrecting power of Jesus has blown on those coals and added fresh fuel. I've watched with amazement and admiration as Randy has begun to rise. And just as Jesus is performing a resurrection in Randy, I believe Randy will be an instrument of resurrection in the lives of countless others. When Randy asked me to share a bit for his Easter email, I was a bit surprised. It had been a long time since I've shared in any meaningful way. In some ways, this is a bit of a resurrection for me. That is the impact that this treasure of a man has, and I commend Randy to you. Wherever you're at in your journey, in your faith story, I would make a point of including Randy on that journey. You will not find a more faithful friend. I wish you a happy Easter, and I hope you find time to embrace the resurrection of Jesus and the power that it can have in your life. God bless.